morning. For those of you who don't know, my name is Maya Karen. I run a fashion blog called Classically Kept. It does feature luxury, contemporary, and how to style and now natural hair care. So if you are into any of those things, please consider subscribing to my channel. Click the notification bell. That way you will never miss a video. So today we are going to talk about some simple and easy hair care tips. We are coming into the cooler months. We are now in fall, and then in December, we will go into winter, right? So today I have 10 hair care tips for fall, winter, or cool weather, right? So first, let's talk about why cool weather, fall weather, winter weather is so damaging to our natural hair, right? Cold weather, cool weather tends to strip our hair of its natural moisture, which leads to it being dry, brittle, and then what we all hate is breakage, right? We have worked so hard through the spring and summer months to retain our length, only for us to come to fall and winter and then our hair starts breaking, okay? So I do have 10 simple tips. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first tip is going to be silk presses. We all know that since we are entering into the cooler months, silk presses, or we are going to be in silk press season. You guys know that I do a silk press, or I straighten my hair every year, once a year for my hairversary, which is December 22nd of 2012. That is how long I have been natural, right? But remember what I just said is that cold weather naturally dries out our hair, right? Or it strips our hair of its natural moisture. So with this one, what I am going to say is do your silk press, revel in the silk press season, but just be careful. Make sure you're doing your deep conditioning. Make sure you're using your heat protectant. Make sure you're doing it using a leave-in conditioner if you have one. Just be diligent about your hair care when it comes to silk press. Me personally, if you do silk presses, I would say maybe do it twice a month. See if you can stretch it out longer. I know there are some women who will silk press like on the 1st and then they will wash their hair on the 30th, right? It is your preference. Also, if you are a straight natural, I don't know if any straight naturals watch my hair content. If you do, hello. But I would just say the same thing to you. Just be diligent about your deep conditioning in your hair care regimen, right? Because we know that using heat styling tools dries our hair out, right? And we just talked about what the cold weather does to our hair, right? It naturally strips our hair of the moisture. So revel in your silk press, revel in silk press season. I know I will come December, but just be careful, be diligent. Okay, tip number 2. Headgear. You guys know since the beginning of my YouTube journey that I have fallen in love with head wraps, whether it be on top of my head, whether it be more turban style, and even for the women who do wear hijabs, if that is a part of your religion or if that is a part of your belief, right? Let's make sure that we are also still taking care of our hair under the hijab, under the turban, under the head wrap. And what I mean by that is you guys will see a lot of like the very brightly colored or just like color or dyed head wraps that I wear. It's typically like that very harsh material, typically like a jersey knit or just like a jersey. That tends, and I will link all of these down below. You guys love the head wraps from YGN, but there's a caveat to that one. Those typically with just like the very rough material, again, they dry out your hair. They soak up all of the moisture and all the products that you have been using on your hair, right? And remember, with the dry weather or with the cold weather, it is going to naturally strip our hair of the moisture. So what I will say to you and what I showed you in that video of like my favorite head wrap, I will also link that down below. If you have not noticed, I always wear a silky barrier between my hair and the head wrap. It can be a silky barrier. It can be like your different bonnets that you not wearing it outside, but you will put on like a silky barrier and then you will put on the head wrap. Moths, YGN, Modern Day Classic or Modern Day Queen collection. A lot of companies have now started coming out with head wraps or like pre-tied turbans, and the inside of it is actually like a satin or a silk, some type of silky material. If you watch The Real Housewives of Potomac, Robin came out with a hat line. All of her hats, because she is aware of what, Black women, natural women go through, all of her hats are lined. So just make sure that when you are, adorning yourself, when you are adorning your crown, when it comes to head wraps, just make sure that there is some type of silky barrier between your hair and the head wrap, right? Same thing with turtlenecks. Just watch out if you're going to be wearing your hair down and out. Just make sure that it is not brushing up against. Same thing with scarves. I know a lot of women will wear hats, whether it be a regular hat, whether it be a beanie. Let's say they put their hair in a ponytail, or let's say they just put it in a braid. They'll put the beanie on, but then they will take their scarf and they'll wrap it around. This portion from right here to right here where the scarf is and where your hair meets is going to be a lot of friction, okay? So just make sure that when you are wearing your headgear, just make sure, again, you are paying attention to your hair. Number 3, I get it. Life happens. Your child spills something on themselves before it's time to go and you have to go upstairs and change. You're running late to work. You still have to drop your child off. You're sitting in traffic. You're going to be late to work. I get it. Life happens, and I don't know where this came from, but stop going outside with your hair wet. It's the same thing as stop going to sleep with your hair wet and wrapping it up, right? Let your hair dry. And I don't even really think I need to explain why, but just going out and, here in the Carolinas, I would probably say the temperature has dropped, not much, but it has dropped. In the morning, I think this morning it was like 50. Right now it's 65. Tomorrow the high is going to be 70. Tomorrow the low is going to be about 50. So right in between like lunch and when the sun goes down, it's going to be fine. But in the morning, your hair has the potential to freeze because you will still have like those water bubbles on your hair. And remember, we're talking about hair care for cooler months, right? Naturally, the cold air is going to strip your hair of its moisture, right? But if you also have wet hair and then you're just going to allow it to dry, it can dry it out even more, okay? Stop going outside with your hair wet, or at least soaking wet. I would probably say anywhere from 80 to 85%, 90, 95% should be fine. Like let's say you've, done your hair care regimen or you've remoisturized your hair in the morning. That's probably fine. You have product on your hair, right? I'm talking about going out, which, as like I said, I don't know where it came from, but I'm talking about going outside with soaking wet hair. Tip number 4, we all jumped on the bandwagon of coconut oil. I can tell you from my experience, I think I use it, I would probably say for a good six months to a year before I figured out what it was or what it was doing to my hair. Coconut oil dried out my hair so bad. It would just sit on top and it would get everywhere, and then it began to smell, okay? But the tip with coconut oil is do not go outside or do not style your hair raw with raw coconut oil. I'm not referring to ingredients or products that have coconut oil in them, but stop or do not go outside with raw coconut oil in your hair. Simply put, it will solidify. I don't know if you have ever bought raw coconut oil from the store, or if you store it in your cabinet or upstairs or in your bathroom. At room temperature, coconut oil solidifies, or it is a solid, right? If you go outside with that coconut oil and it's below freezing or below temperature, it's going to freeze. And again, we want to make sure that we are keeping the moisture in our hair so it does not dry out, so it does not become brittle, and it does not start to break, okay? I can only imagine what would happen to your hair if you have just saturated it in coconut oil. Not to mention the residue probably would show up. I'm not so much worried about that. It's more so having the coconut oil dry out your hair even more, okay? So remember, raw coconut oil, not products that use them or have that ingredient. Tip number 5 is going to be use products or use some type of ingredient that is going to be anti-humectant. And basically what that is, it's going to be something like olive oil or jojoba oil. It is going to seal in the moisture of your hair, okay? Again, we are talking about fall and winter, cooler months hair care. So there might be some products that you might need to change. And while doing research for this video, I did find an article talking about 15 ingredients that you should avoid when it comes to your natural hair care regimen, or when it comes to natural hair care for your winter or fall months. I will link that down below. Okay, the next tip, which this tip or this conversation probably deserves a video of its own. I have already done a video on this and I will link it down below. This is going to be a 2-4 rule, or like a 2-part rule. The first part of this rule is going to be protective styling, right? However, there's a caveat, which is part 2. But do not forget about your hair, okay? Like I said, I have already done a video on this. It's going to be the do's and don'ts of protective styling. I will link it down below. The number one question I always get asked is, Maya, how have you been able to grow your hair? When of course, really the question should be, how have you been able to retain your growth or retain your length? I will always, hands down, although you guys know for the better part of this year, and really we're almost at the end of the year, I have been stretching my hair and doing jumbo twists, but my answer will always be mini twist, hands down, 100%. But as I said, there's a caveat to that. A lot of women who do mini twists, who choose to get braids, they do get added hair. Some women wear weaves, some women wear wigs, some women wear, U-parts. You guys know that I'm not really up on fake hair fashion, but I do know about the weaves and the wigs, and I do know about, the extensions. Even though your hair is in a protective style, I cannot stress this enough. Please, 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 please still take care of your hair. The point of the protective style, of course, with the added hair, is for your hair to grow. The point is for you to be able to retain your length. We all know of a woman, or we have all seen the video where someone is taking out their braids, especially in the back and on the sides and right at their front, their edges, and their hair literally comes out with the braid. One of the reasons for that, I would probably say the number one reason, is because they are not taking care of their own hair. Their very hair that is attached to their head. The next one I'm going to say is because you leave it in for too long. I wear mini twists, I wear jumbo twists. I have never, done the extensions. I have never used the added hair. I know they're synthetic. I know there is real. I don't really know which one you use for that, but there are women, because they feel like, they've paid for this service, they've paid for, a couple $100s. You hear the stories of like the outrageous charges and the outrageous amounts of money that women are spending. So they feel as though they're going to say, well, hey, I paid $500 for these braids. I'm going to keep them in for months. Please, 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 please do not do that. I know there are some women online who will keep it in from 3 to 4 months. However, they take care of their hair and they actually do wash their hair with the extensions in. You can go down that rabbit hole. What I am saying to you is, when it comes to protective styling, it works, but you have to take care of your own hair underneath the protective style, whether it be a wig, whether it be weave, or whether you have extensions. Please, 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 I cannot stress it enough. There is nothing worse than paying money for a protective style only to take it out 3 months, 2 months, 4 weeks, 8 weeks down the line, and your hair is dry, brittle, and broken off, okay? That's one of the reasons why I think protective styling gets a bad name or gets a bad rap, but you have to take care of your hair in the protective style. I'm not going to harp on it too long, but it is essential. It is important, okay? That is the next tip when it comes to your cooler months hair care. Protective style, but you still have to maintain your hair, okay? The next tip, which is going to kind of piggyback off of the anti-humectants tip, but the next tip is going to be, just simply don't use products that dry your hair out. And like I said, I will link that list down below. That article gives about 15. The number one thing that I can think of, or the first one that comes to mind, is your alcohols. I stopped using the Eco Styler with the argan oil. I stopped using that. I'm pretty sure alcohol is like the first, second, or third ingredient in that. If you don't know, whenever you're looking at the ingredients, and this goes for food as well, but especially for hair care, especially for hair products, whatever, like the number 1, number 2, number 3, and then it just keeps going. But like, they're listed in, I guess you could say, how much of it is actually in that product. A lot of people, or you heard a lot of people say that the number 1 ingredient in your product should always be water, okay? If you come across a product that the number 1 ingredient is alcohol, stay away. That means that that product is mainly alcohol, okay? Which means it probably has a couple of additives in there and preservatives and all of that, right? I will link that list down below. Again, this is an essential tip because we don't want to use a product that dries our hair out and then step outside and have our hair dry out even more. The next tip is going to be deep condition. Deep condition, deep condition, deep condition. Of course, there's a caveat to this one. There is a but with this one. But you cannot deep condition enough, okay? I know there is this controversial idea that you should only have to deep condition with the directions on the bottle or on the tub. Some say an hour, some say 30 minutes, some say 45, some say 15 minutes. I use I think it's the Briogeo. It's on Amazon. I will link it down below. It's the Don't Despair Repair Hair Mask. I absolutely love it, okay? Those products are not cheap, but they work. I also use their conditioner, the banana shampoo and the banana conditioner. I will link all of that down below. But just make sure that you are deep conditioning your hair, okay? Deep condition, deep condition, deep condition. The but to this is just make sure that you are not using a deep conditioner and you can switch. I would probably say maybe like if you wash your hair every 2 weeks, which is twice a month, you can use the Don't Despair Repair and then you can use another one. Just make sure that whatever deep conditioner that you are using, like I said, you can switch. So just make sure that one does not have protein in it. We don't want to get into a situation where we have protein overload, okay? So if you do find that your deep conditioner does have protein in it, just kind of find another one that doesn't, and then you can switch. I know there are some naturals who wash their hair every week. I am not that natural. I wash my hair every 2 weeks. There are some naturals who wash their hair once a month. It's fine. If you're washing your hair once a month, something with protein in it should be fine, okay? But deep condition, deep condition, deep condition. We want to get as much moisture in our hair that we can. Tip number 9 is going to be a hot oil massage of Ayurveda. I will link that down below. I do have a video talking about the Ayurveda way to massage your scalp. And this can actually go for your warmer months as well. I love scalp massages, whether it be just a scalp massage with the tips of my fingers or with the actual massage brush that I have. I will link that down below. But just hot oil treatments, first of all, it just feels so wonderful. And then also, again, moisture, moisture, moisture. We don't want dry hair, will lead to brittle, and then it will lead to breakage, right? I probably say that at this point, I massage my scalp every 3 to 2 times a week whenever I re-moisturize my hair. So typically what I will do, I wash my hair, I think Thursday. Today is Monday. This will go up on Wednesday. So probably Wednesday when this video is going, I will re-moisturize my hair. But before I do that, so that when I redo it, my hair will not be frizzy or my twist will not be frizzy, I will take down my hair or take it out of the wrap, because more than likely I'm going to wake up and do this, you know, when my hair is wrapped up or when it's in my bonnet, right? I will take my hair down. I will warm up my oil. I will give myself a massage. And then I will redo my hair, right? So that way when I redo my twist, I won't have frizzy hair. I won't have messed up hair because I didn't redo my hair, re-moisturize, and then and then massage my scalp with the tips of my fingers or with my massager, right? I always do it right before or the same day that I am going to redo and re-moisturize my twist, right? But I love them. And they do have other benefits as well. If you are someone who sits in front of a screen all day, we were talking about the Ayurveda or the Ayurvedic scalp massage. It does have points here and here that will help alleviate, you know, headaches and things like that, especially if you sit in front of a computer all day. Blue screen. I know they do have blue screen glasses, but if you're looking for a more natural way to alleviate some of that, the Ayurveda head massage or scalp massage will help you with that, okay? But love them, and like I said, they can be used during the warmer months as well. It's something that I do when I would like for 30 minutes, because when you're massaging your scalp, you're supposed to do each section for 2 to 3 minutes. So it's something that I do when I'm sitting watching YouTube or when I'm sitting and watching TV. And the 10th tip. And this is really something that you need to be doing during the warmer months as well. But I find for myself in the cooler months, I find just because it's cold and dreary and cloudy outside, that I find myself to be a little lazy, a little less inclined. I have a little less oomph to kind of do my hair. I still enjoy it, but I may skip a wash day. I may skip like a re-moisturized day, Don't do that. My last tip is to stay consistent. If you have your regimen down packed, if you have it on your calendar that every single Monday you are going to wash your hair, or every other Monday you are going to wash your hair, stick to it. Put it in your schedule. Say, no, I know someone invited me out, to eat whatever on Monday, but I have to finish my hair. If I finish in time, then we can go out, we can go to brunch, we can do whatever you want to do. Just make sure that you are staying consistent with your regimen. And as a matter of fact, again, for me, like I said, I find myself a little less inclined to do my hair, really just a little less inclined just in general. I know for me, I like warm weather, so being cold just makes me very uncomfortable and grumpy. But I find that when I am consistent, I continue, right? I was reading an article. There's one article that says it takes 7 days for something to become a habit when you're consistent. And I've also read as long as 21 days for you to do something, and then the habit becomes like second nature, right? Consistency is key. I know we hear that all the time, but it is the truth. If you have a solid regimen, stick to it, and that's it. Like I said, if every Monday you're supposed to wash your hair, wash your hair. If every Wednesday you are supposed to follow up and re-moisturize and retwist. And even with something like that, right now I'd probably say that I have semi-jumbo twist, so it's a lot more than jumbo twist. Even if it's a situation where it's Wednesday and I know that I need to re-moisturize my hair, I don't want my hair to dry out, and I do have to, go outside into the elements. Even maybe do like half and half. Maybe in the morning, wake up, have some breakfast, do this first half, and then maybe get some work done, spend time with your kids, pick your kids up. And then when you're relaxed, go back and do the rest of your hair. It doesn't have to be all in one sitting. I like to do that because I know I'm not going to come back to it. I enjoy doing my hair. I find it very therapeutic, as you guys know. But at the same time, though, I don't know what it is about cold weather. It just makes me, I'm not going to say depressed, but it just kind of makes me not even anxious. Cold weather just, not depressing, but it's just, I don't like being cold. And the minute I get cold, it's just like, I don't want to do anything. I just want to wrap up in a blanket and do nothing. So all I'm saying is that consistency is key, okay? Make sure you are sticking with your regimen, all right? So those are all of the natural hair care tips that I have for you when it comes to fall and winter, when it comes to the cooler months. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Let me know in the comments if you want to add another simple rule. I just want to remind you that here on YouTube, I do upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And right here, or I think right here, I'll put my Instagram handle. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, you guys. Bye.
We always have it coming.